Hey, Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more relationship stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not, you cheeky so-and-so, consider hitting that like, that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. But let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from Earth Classic 230 from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. And it's titled, Would I be the arsehole if I didn't get my sister a wedding gift? Okay, so I, 25 male, am a wedding planner, so when my sister, 32 female, announced she was getting married, most of our family, her included, assumed I'd help plan it for her. I initially didn't really want to, as her wedding is right in the middle of a busy season, so I'd miss out on gigs that would pay, but then I decided that she's my sister and this would be a good wedding gift and would just help with the wedding stress. She was so happy when I agreed, and we started going over our plans and themes. I found some venues and we went to look at them. I took care of all the catering, so all she had to do was taste test and pick. I was also able to use my connections to get her special deals and stuff like that. At first it was pretty smooth, but as time went on it got more and more stressful. She wouldn't communicate with anyone and almost got a photographer to quit. I had to convince him to stay. She'd constantly change her mind on things and then get mad they were changed, as I should have known she was just being indecisive and that I should have stuck with the first option. Whilst I was setting up the registry, she told me I could have first dibs on what gift I was getting her. I looked at her confused and said that my help planning was my gift. She then said that a lot of family helped out and they are still getting gifts. I told her that other family members helped move furniture or lend me their car to pick up supplies. I was doing most of the work and was missing out on actually getting paid helping her. She said she's grateful for my help, but this wouldn't really constitute a gift unless I was paying for things like her dress or the venue. And she said it didn't matter when I brought up that my connections have literally saved her thousands when you add them up. She's now calling me cheap and is getting our family involved. I don't know what she told them. They won't tell me, but they keep saying how selfish I am to make my sister's big day all about me. If I could afford it, I wouldn't mind getting her something, but the cheapest thing in the registry is almost $200 and I'm not well off. Plus my loss of income, I can't afford anything like that right now. I want to support her, but I don't think I'm going to get her a gift. Would I be the arsehole if I didn't? Now, you know me, I always try to put myself in people's positions whilst thinking about these stories, and I'm trying to put myself into sisters, the bride's shoes in this, and standing in front of my brother, and after he's gone through all this effort of planning your wedding, using his contacts, saving you thousands of dollars, and then still thinking in your mind that you are deserve a gift from him. I just find that wild. Even to think about expecting a gift from anyone like you're entitled to it is insane to me. And I do wonder, like you said at the very end there, what she's been saying to your family to get them to turn against you, because surely anyone in their right mind reading this story would say absolutely you are not the arsehole in this situation, and she is incredibly entitled, and I'll be stepping back from that immediately. And I'm sure the comments are going to be not the arsehole. And I always think that, what about if you showed the person this post and told them to read the comments on how their attitude is? Will it change? Possibly, maybe not. But I always think that would be quite interesting. But Pleasant Koala says, not the arsehole, make an itemized bill for her outlining the hours you've spent, the income you've lost by turning down paid gigs, and the savings you got her through your contacts. Print the final total in big, bold numbers, then print gifted in red letters across the front. Frame it and put it on a stand at the gift table at her wedding so everyone can see how generous you've been. Anyone tries to argue that you're being selfish, tell them to read it out loud. If they accuse you of being petty, tell them it wouldn't have been necessary if it had been appreciated by the bride and themselves. Snoo Panda says, not the arsehole in any way, shape or form. Your time is valuable and you sound like you've put a lot of effort into helping her with her wedding. She's offered you nothing in return at all actually, when a wedding planner would normally be very expensive. I think that is a lovely gift to give someone. If she's going to flip out on you for not getting her a material item, then it shows how much she values your time. What an a-hole. Here is the gift you should give her. Add up all your time and what you would charge a normal client. Put it on an invoice. Write free of charge because I love you next to the total charge. Buy a lovely wedding card and insert the invoice into the card. Give it to her. Then she will see exactly what you got for her wedding, which I expect will be a damn sight more than anyone else got her. This has now made me angry. I'm going to angrily boil the kettle and make tea like a proper English person would do in this situation. Ooh dear, that tea bag is going to be dunked furiously, let me tell you. Scream Queen says, not the arsehole. While I would have maybe been clear up front that getting your services for free was the gift, your sister's level of entitlement is ridiculous. Frankly, I'd hand your sister a bill for the work you did that highlights the money you saved with your industry discounts and say either she can pay you and you'll get her something off the registry, or this and your continued free labor can be the gift. Helping out is when someone comes over to make favors, helps transport items or decorate. You are providing a service and coordinating an entire event for her. And as with your family that feels the need to be involved, you need to be clear with them that you are a 25-year-old, losing out on actual money to support yourself, and you are disappointed your family neither seems to value your work or time. And let's have one more comment from Jacob Fire, who says not the arsehole, and the cheek of her to get family involved in your argument. I suggest you draw up a list of income and things that have cost you while doing her planning and show your family. Don't bother showing this list to her, she will only get more riled up. Instead, show this list to a more level-headed family member who can see from your point of view. Let this family member or members advocate for you. Sometimes it takes a third person to make us see the light. So OP updates the post a couple of days later and says, I took some of your advice but didn't go as extreme as I think some of you were hoping I would. Sorry, but I can be a bit of a people pleaser and I don't want to ruin what is supposed to be a happy moment in her life. I put together a list of everything I had done, including all the discounts I had gotten her. I'm not sure if she knew they were discounts, as I didn't say they were discounts. I was saying things like, I've been able to get you a quote of X amount from Y or Z, as well as stating that I would normally charge for a wedding this size. I then texted her to ask if we could get some lunch and talk. When she arrived, I showed her the list and explained that I'm not asking her to pay this, but I wanted her to see how much I'm helping her and how much money I am losing by doing her wedding instead of taking on a client who would pay. At first, she was shocked at the amount and accused me of lying to try and make her feel bad. I was able to show her bills from other weddings I'd done before, and a quick Google search showed that my prices are pretty average. She had never looked up any wedding planner or their rates because she assumed I was always gonna do it. She said she thought it wasn't that much as I didn't seem to be well off. I told her that while it does pay well, I can't take on crazy amounts of clients since I need to give quality service and I might not always get clients all year. Plus I have a few medical expenses that can take out a large chunk. She said I still must have some money saved up. I said I do, but I would be having to use it to cover my bills and stuff since my income is taking a hit due to taking on her wedding. After a while of insisting that some of the items on her registry aren't that expensive, she relented. I wouldn't have to get her anything since I had gotten her enough discounts to qualify as a gift, and that she was grateful for my help and services. Honestly, I didn't know how much this was stressing me until that relief washed over me. I was thankful that this was over and we could continue with the planning her wedding. I asked her to clear things up with our family as they won't talk to me about it. She agreed and sent a group text explaining that the gift incident was just a misunderstanding, that we had talked it out and cleared things up. For those who are saying that her registry seems very expensive, the new husband, his family's friends, and a lot of her friends are very wealthy. She makes sure our parents and other close family members are taken care of, so she kinda has become disconnected from people with normal financial status like me. There are a lot of things on the list like designer handbag, clothes, shopping sprees, dinners, and even a car. And second home on there. The cheaper items are some simple jewelry she liked. She paid for my part of the lunch as an apology, and since I'm struggling and things are all good now, thanks everyone. I still found that an incredibly sad update, especially OP accepting what was said in that update as well. He's gone to lunch with his sister and showed her the list of all these discounts that he's provided. And instead of saying, you're totally right, you know, I shouldn't have said what I said and what you're doing is more than enough. In fact, I just want you at my wedding, that kind of stuff. She went, no, can't you use some of your savings? And when I got to like a car and a second home as a wedding gift, like what the fuck's going on here? Absolute cheeky so-and-so. You got stuff like that on your wedding list, yet you're not paying your brother to plan your wedding for you. You're just expecting him to do it for free. Absolutely. Oh, wow. What do you guys make of this situation? I can see something else happening further down the line with this one, I've got to say. But what are your thoughts on it? Let me know down in the comments below. Oh, and let's move on to another story. And our next story is from the Am I the A-hole subreddit from Economy Guarantee 244 and says, am I the arsehole for not attending my graduation party and telling everyone why when they asked? My family has not celebrated anything to do with me since I was 12 years old. My dad and his new wife had a baby that year and I was kind of forgotten about. I'd get birthday presents and such, but no party or anything. I got used to it and started the tradition of celebrating with my friends. We would go see movies or whatever. One of my friends' mums found out and started making me a cake every year for my birthday. When I graduated from high school, I'd saved up enough money to go on a week-long vacation in New York City with my best friend and her mum to see Hadestown. I just finished university and I'm starting my new job right away. I guess my dad had planned a big party for me as a surprise, but I didn't show up because I went out with my friends instead. When my family started asking me why I didn't show up, after my father had gone through all the effort for me, I explained that he hadn't celebrated anything of mine in 10 years, and I didn't know he had planned to do so this time. He told everyone I was lying, so I asked him to post any pictures he had from my birthday parties, extracurricular activities, or high school graduation. He obviously couldn't, and everyone started shitting on him. Now he is mad for talking about private family matters. I'm going to go over there and pick up a few things I've left in that house and just move to my new city without dealing with this anymore. Am I the arsehole? Now, one, you're absolutely not the arsehole for the first reason. You didn't even know about it, so how the hell are you meant to attend an event you don't know about? And secondly, you're not the arsehole for not going to an event where your family has just been shit to you for years. It's as simple as that for me. And the bullshit at the end that we've seen it a few times now, talking about private family matters. This is your truth and you're allowed to talk about your truth to anyone you like. It's only private because he doesn't want you sharing it with others because, you know, it reflects negatively on him. But Don Redcorn Massage says, not the arsehole, and says, how dare you tell the truth about me being a horrible parent? Really? People always call them private family matters when they know their behavior is indefensible. Jackson Love says, definitely not the arsehole. You can't attend a party you didn't know about. He's now mad because you called him out on his lies and proved to family that he hasn't actually celebrated anything for you in years. It makes him look bad, obviously, and that's what he's mad about. You do you. Good luck with your new job and your move. Ian says, not the arsehole. What a brilliant way to put him in his place. You were honest with people. He publicly accused you of lying. You proved he was the one lying. He now thinks you are wrong for talking about private family matters. Funny how he's okay with talking about them publicly until he got his ass handed to him. Renee says, info. How did he expect you to just show up? Had he invited you over at all and planned to surprise you, or was he just expecting you to drop by? Did you agree to come over and then just not show up? Something's missing here. Opie says, he had asked me to be home for dinner that night. Which also Opie replied again saying, I said I would be home unless something else came up. I don't usually eat with them. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Our next story, again, is from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit from Humble Intention 3425 and says, am I the arsehole for backing out of paying for my sister's wedding dress over a joke she made? I had an incident on my wedding day back in 2017, when my former fiancé abandoned me and ran away with his pregnant mistress. That image, those details are forever ingrained on my mind, and I'll never forget how I felt that day. This was truly a turning point in my life. My family have always been there for me, so I kept close to them. My younger sister is currently engaged and her wedding will be in a few months. She's struggling with money, so I decided to help her and her fiancé and pay for the wedding dress. This allowed her to be able to buy her dream wedding gown that cost $7,000. It's a lot for a dress, but she literally cried because she wanted it. This happened a few days before we agreed to go buy the dress. We were eating dinner at my parents' home and my cousin and aunt were there. My aunt was asking my sister about the wedding and my sister said that everything was going according to plan and then casually laughed and said, let's just hope he won't run away with a pregnant mistress or something in our wedding day. I was blown away completely. She laughed and Aunt laughed too, as if this was a joke. She was basically mocking what happened with me in my wedding. It happened so fast, I got up and started screaming at her and calling her an idiot, but my parents asked me to take it easy, and she said it was a joke and she didn't think I'd react so intensely. My aunt remained seated and my cousin asked me to calm down and drink some water, But I grabbed my stuff, and as I was getting ready, I told my sister she was getting $0 for a dream wedding dress, then I walked out. I heard a louder commotion as I walked, and my dad and cousin followed me outside trying to talk, but I asked to be left alone. My dad spoke to me saying I was too harsh on my sister over a joke, and said that I know this is how she is with a dark sense of humor. He said she's been crying after I decided to back out of helping her, and said this would ruin her wedding. They want me to reconsider my decision since it might damage my relationship with my sister, but I refused. Did I overreact? Info. It's my aunt that would usually bring up what happened from time to time and say stuff like, if what happened didn't happen, you'd have at least 2 kids by now. Or, do you know what day it is? Your wedding anniversary. It's harsh, but she stopped doing it anymore. Maybe my sister is being influenced by her still. It hurt the same, and more coming from my own sister. We see it time and time again on this subreddit where people make excuses for others, like, you know how she is with her dark sense of humor, like that's an excuse to be an awful person to someone else, to sit there and think, I'm going to say this to my own sister who knows she's gone through a traumatic time in her past and think that's an acceptable thing to say. That this computes through your mind and thinks that's going to be a funny thing to say. That's a joke. It's not a joke. We know it's not a joke. Your sister's the one who's hurt your relationship with her words. I wouldn't blame you if you took that money away at all. But Elfrenex says, and quotes, this is how she is with her dark sense of humor. And says, well, this is how I am with her dark sense of humor. Seriously, lack of awareness and simple respect from this sister. Charged remarks come with charged consequences. Not the arsehole. Previous Owl says, let's all joke about someone's trauma and then get mad when they react exactly how you'd expect someone with trauma to react. Not the arsehole. No Hippo replies to that and says, this is what kills me. Anyone saying everyone sucks here or you're the arsehole clearly doesn't understand how life-altering that moment was for OP. Her entire world crumbled in that moment. It's not something you get over, ever. It's not something up for jokes, ever. Not the arsehole. Sauron O'Mordor replies to that one and says it's only up for jokes if OP is the one making the jokes, or if OP consistently uses humor to cope with this particular trauma and her nearest and dearest follow her lead and make jokes that are respectful of OP, and make her ex-fiancé the butt of the joke. People who use dark humor as an excuse to make mean jokes are the worst. That's not dark humor, that's just being a dick. Dark humor is something that only the person / people impacted by the trauma can do. It's a healthy way of processing and coping with trauma. You don't get to do that with someone else's trauma. At most, you can make jokes that punch up or target the source of their trauma, but even then, you don't get to decide for the person who was hurt that they must find it funny or react how you want them to. If they're hurt by the joke, you apologize. And let's have one more comment from Hammeron57 who says, not the arsehole. I wish I had $1 for every time I seen, you know how he, she, they is / are on this sub. It's just the same thing as saying, yeah, we know what they did was wrong, but they don't listen to us, so we're going to try and guilt you into fixing this. You are under no obligation to pay for your sister's extremely expensive dress. It was a wonderful act of kindness. As thanks, your sister threw the most traumatic experience of your life in your face and laughed about it. 7k can buy a pretty amazing holiday OP. You definitely deserve it. Just saying. Now, what would you do in this situation? Would you still pay for that dress? Do you think there's ever a way of, fixing this relationship if possible? Would you do that? Would you consider doing that? What if the sister came up to you and apologized afterwards and said, that their behavior was shitty? Would you be able to forgive them for it then? Personally, myself, I think it'd still be pretty difficult just because I know that they're thinking along these lines and making jokes of it and making light of that kind of situation would be hard to move past for me. But what do you think? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So as always, thank you so much for being involved. Truly, it means the world. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love to you.
Yeah, man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. Nah, 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 you just don't care. You just don't. Still selling false hope, cause you just don't care.